Special report. Now reporting, David Muir.
Good evening. We're coming back on the air because the suspect charged with the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk is making his first court appearance in Utah 4th District Court at this hour. It's a virtual appearance, which is standard in Utah. You can see him there on the lower left-hand side of your screen. A short time ago, Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray revealed his plan to seek the death penalty against the suspect, Tyler Robinson. Let's listen to the judge.
Calling case 251-403-576, State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Could you state your name?
Tyler James Robinson.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Robinson. I'm Judge Graff. Mr. Skordas.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. You're probably already aware of my presence or why I'm here, but if not, I am not entering an appearance. I'm not counsel on this case. I'm working with the county to get counsel assigned, but we need you to allow for the appointment of counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Skordas. I want to go through the qualifications
Absolutely.
For indigency, but that is my intent, Mr. Skordas.
Very well.
And I thank you for being here. So, Mr. Robinson, you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court can appoint an attorney to represent you. I have reviewed your declaration of financial status and find that you are indigent. I'm provisionally appointing a Rule 8 qualified attorney to represent you on your case, Mr. Robinson. Along with the filing of their appearance of counsel, the assigned attorneys must file declarations with the court that outline their qualifications under Rule 8 and Rule 8C, under Rule 8B and Rule 8C for counsel appointment in a case where death may be a sentencing option. I'm ordering that those declarations be filed prior to the next hearing date, which is set for September 29th at 10 a.m. Mr. Robinson, I also wish to inform you of your right against self-incrimination. Anything that you say in court today could be used against you, and we want to protect your constitutional rights. Mr. Robinson, at this time, you will remain in custody without bail. Mr. Skordas, is there any other points that you wish to address?
No, thank you very much, Your Honor.
Turning to the state.
Yes, Your Honor. Chad Grunander for the state. I'm also joined, and they're listed as attendees, Ryan McBride, Lauren Hunt, David Sturgill, and Chris Ballard. We are the trial team on this case. I do have a few points I'd like to bring up with Your Honor. We have filed a pretrial protective order on behalf of Erica Kirk. We would ask the court to review that. It should be in your queue, Your Honor, and sign that.
Thank you. I have reviewed the pretrial protective order and will be issuing this pretrial protective order in favor of Erica Kirk. Is there any other business that we need to address today, counsel?
Just for the court's information, we did file just recently, within the last few minutes, a notice of intent to seek the death penalty that was filed by Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray. So that should be in the court's file. Lastly, I would just indicate to the court and to, at this point, Mr. Robinson, that we are prepared to collect all of the discovery in this matter and get that turned over to the defense as soon as possible. Rule 16 requires us to provide what we have relied on in charging the information and bringing these charges within 5 days once it's requested. So that'll be prepared to disseminate to the defense as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Grunander. Mr. Robinson, what I also want to do is you have the right to have the charges read that you stand charged of, and I wish to read those to you at this time. Thank you. Mr. Robinson, for count 1, aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-5-202, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah Code 76.3-207.7, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years, and that may be for life. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Notice if the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child aggravating factor, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider as an aggravating factor in their deliberations that the defendant committed a violent criminal offense in the presence of a child. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm.
You are witnessing here our ABC News Live coverage. This is the first appearance in court, virtually you can see, which is how they do it. In this particular jurisdiction, Tyler James Robinson, the suspect, charged with aggravated murder among the 7 counts revealed late this afternoon. The judge is now reading those counts to the suspect. He nodded his head, understanding that the charges would be read to him. He was told he can have representation. The county attorney saying Robinson will face those 7 charges, including aggravated murder, obstruction of justice, and witness tampering. Our team is standing by with new reporting on the case. We'll have much more coming up on World News Tonight. For many of you, we rejoin your local news here in the East, and for those of you in the rest of the country, we'll see you a short time from now for World News Tonight. Good day.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
All right, we continue the breaking news coverage here on ABC News Live. Reports the man who stands accused of murdering Charlie Kirk is making his first court appearance. It's happening right now. There you are looking at 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. I want to see if, and I'll let my control room guide me through this here, if we're able to listen in momentarily. Okay, let's take a listen in as this court hearing is playing out.
Presence of a child. Count 3. Obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-8-306 sub 2, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant Tyler James Robinson, with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or pursuant to any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, conceal or remove the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or a first-degree felony. Count 4, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony in violation of Utah Code 76-8-306 sub 2, in that on or about September 11th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, with an intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, destroyed, concealed, or removed the clothing he wore during the shooting, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. Count 5, tampering with a witness, a third-degree felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-8-508, in that on or about September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony, information, a document, or an item to wit, directing his roommate to delete incriminating text messages. Count 6, tampering with a witness, a third-degree felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-8-508, in that on or about September 11th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted, or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony or information, to wit, directing his roommate to stay silent if the police questioned the roommate. Count 7, violent offense committed in the presence of a child, a Class A misdemeanor in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-3-203.10 sub 2 and 76-3-203.14 sub 3a little double I, in that on or about September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, committed criminal homicide in the physical presence of a child younger than 14 years of age, with knowledge that a child was present and that may have been seen or heard the commission of the criminal homicide. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2, Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. That concludes reading the information. Mr. Robinson, this case is set for September 29th at 10 a.m. It will be a waiver hearing, and I will be the judge assigned to this case. And Mr. Robinson, I invite you to join us at that time. Is there anything further, counsel?
No, Your Honor, we'll have counsel appointed by then. Thank you.
Mr. Gurander, anything further?
One item, just for clarification, Your Honor, the hearing on the 29th, is that in person or WebEx?
Thank you. That is a great question. It will be via WebEx.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
All right. I want to thank all parties for being here, and this concludes this hearing at this time. Court is in recess.
All right.
So the suspected shooter there of Charlie Kirk, the hearing has now just concluded. We know that the state is pursuing the death penalty here. We have just learned throughout this proceeding that they are going to try to find him counsel. They deemed he is indigent, so they will be providing an attorney for the alleged shooter. And the next time that he will make a court appearance will be September 29th. And then again, as you heard the judge there say, that will happen on WebEx. A couple other things that we learned here throughout this quick hearing is that he will remain in custody without bail, and that the state was also present there, and they asked for a protective order on behalf of Erica Kirk. Of course, that is Charlie Kirk's wife. A reminder to everybody that, yes, he was a conservative activist, but he was also a young husband and a young father of 2 children, and a protective order has been granted on behalf of Erica Kirk. I do want to bring in our ABC News chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman. He's in Spanish Fork, Utah, there for us. Matt, thank you here for being here with us. And so we just saw this proceeding play out. No surprise, right? This is not the proceeding in which this person would enter a plea. But Matt, prior to this, there was a lot of evidence that the prosecution sort of laid out for the public, including text messages, DNA, things like that, that they do plan to try to present to the judge to be admitted here in trial. But perhaps, Matt, you can just gauge for us, since you've been covering this now for so long. Tell me about your first reaction here in seeing Tyler Robinson sit down there, if you were able to see it, sitting down in this court hearing.
He was sitting down. It was via WebEx, so he wasn't physically in the courtroom, Kana, with the judge. But you could see that people were watching. You could see he was wearing this padded vest, and that's because he's been in what's called special watch in this jail here, which is essentially an isolation. He's being held to prevent him from harming himself or from others harming him. We heard from the prosecutor earlier today in his announcement of the charges that the suspect's mother had said that he was suicidal and that he wanted to kill himself, allegedly, instead of turning himself in. So you see him in that protective garb. The bulk of this hearing that we just saw was the judge reading the 7 charges. Of course, they are aggravated by the fact that the suspect allegedly committed this political assassination of Charlie Kirk in full view of children. So that's one of the things that has enhanced the charges against them, and one of the things that makes this a capital case, according to prosecutors here. You mentioned it. He is was pronounced indigent, which means he can't afford to have his own counsel, his outside counsel. One will be provided to him by the court, but there's only a finite number of lawyers who are certified under what's called Rule A qualified attorneys in the state of Utah, or qualified with dealing with a capital case. And my understanding from several sources is that some of those people have been reluctant to take on this case because of the backlash that they are concerned about. They are obviously working on getting him an attorney with, I'm sure, full protections, but that's something that's going to be next. And the next hearing, as you mentioned, September 29th, 10 a.m., he will have counsel present. I'm not even sure if at that point he will enter a plea, Kana.
That's really interesting. And they said, again, that one will also be on WebEx. Apparently, it's really standard procedure there in Utah for this first appearance to also be virtual, as Matt mentioned. And Matt, I'm hoping we can just quickly go through some of those text messages that you mentioned there, again, with this roommate with who prosecutors say that he was romantically involved with. And one thing they touched on in this hearing, too, Matt, is the fact that in this text message exchange, we're showing some of it, but Matt, they pointed out to the fact that they believe the shooter asked his roommate to delete the exchange and then to not speak with the media, and then it's shown in these charging documents, Matt.
Yeah, we have not seen these text messages. We have heard them for the first time from the prosecutor. They also put out this charging document in which these messages were revealed. And it appears to show this exchange between the suspect and his roommate, with whom he was romantically involved, apparently. And it's very, very detailed. And in the text messages, the prosecutor says that the suspect was talking about the murder weapon, talking about where he stashed it, talking about how he stashed it, and yes, allegedly advising his roommate to delete the messages and not to cooperate with law enforcement, to get a lawyer and not talk to the media if there's blows up, and eventually it did. What also struck me about these messages, at least initially, is that the suspect appeared to think that he could get away with this. He was hoping that he would never have to mention this to anyone ever again, and that they would never be able to find him. And it was only, as we've learned through these text messages presented by the prosecutor, when he realizes that he can't get back to that rifle that he stashed and take it somewhere else, and he realizes that police is right in that vicinity and he can't go get it, that he is in trouble. And that's when things start to spiral out of control for the suspect, according to these text messages. And at that point, he does appear, at least afterwards, to talk about being suicidal, not wanting to turn himself in. Eventually, he's convinced by his parents that he should not do any harm to himself and that he should do the right thing and turn himself in, Kana.
Right, and the prosecution revealing this was his grandfather's rifle. It was a very important piece of family property.
Right.
Matt Gutman, thank you, as always, for being here with us today.